Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show, where you will find interesting guests and discussions about cutting-edge topics to assist you on your journey. The Quantum Guide Show is ideally suited to the newly awakened and for those who feel isolated by their newfound beliefs. The mind, body, and spirit thrive when we have a mission, and there is no greater mission than to become the change that we wish to see in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, and Telegram channels, and share this show with your friends. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. Today, my returning guest is Leigh Ann Clark from Atlanta. Leigh Ann Clark is an advanced certified practitioner of AKASHIC Records for 12 years. And after beginning her studies to be an AKASHIC Records practitioner, the Crystal Kingdom began to show up during her own personal AKASHIC Records readings and for her clients as well. That's where her affinity for crystals began. It was a subtle start that led Leigh Ann to create an Introduction to Healing Crystals workshop in the Atlanta, Georgia, and Knoxville, Tennessee areas for the past 8 years, and she has offered crystal assessments and crystal gridding services for about the same time. Leigh Ann's spiritual business is called The Crystal Architect, named so for her love of the crystals, the love that the crystals have for us, and for the light that is added to the crystalline grid every time the Akashic Records are accessed. Healing occurs in every Akashic Records session. The Akashic Records and the Crystal Kingdom flow well together as both realms support and create the best life for you, present information for you, answer questions you might have, and do so in the most loving ways, connecting you to your higher self and to Mother Gaia energies. With great pleasure, I am happy to welcome Leigh Ann back to the Quantum Guide Show. Leigh Ann, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. I'd say this year, this time of year compared to last year, very, very well.
Yeah, this year's been an improvement for me too. Now, before we get started, did I leave anything out? Are you doing anything new that I don't know about? I don't mean that the way it came out. I'm talking workshops or,
No.
anything like that.
Oh, no, no, no. You didn't leave anything out. That's me. That's me in a nutshell. That's still me. And no, you know how things ebb and flow just as life is. I would say more recently, my services have been leaning more toward crystal related more than straight Akashic record reading. So, that's how it is. But sometimes I get in a flow where it's just one after another of Akashic record. So, yeah.
So for those that are new to the whole concept, do you want to explain a little bit about what the Akashic Records are, what a session includes, and then tie in anything you want to say about crystals would be great too.
Oh, sure. So an Akashic record session with me. Well, first I'll say what are the Akashic records, and then I'll go into more specifics. The Akashic records are a space where information about everything that ever was, is, and will be. It's where it's held. So that's everything that's ever, been thought or done. That's how I think of it. Thoughts, actions, obviously things that exist here, but things that you also want to create. What if you wanted to create a business? Well, you thought about it. There, it exists. So there's an Akashic record for it, even if you don't have a name for it yet. It's just like that, and it's quite amazing. It's a place where you can go for healing. You can go into different past lives, concurrent lives, as I like to call them, but different past lives. And you can get what you need, the information you need. And you only get what you need at the time. When you're in an Akashic record session, you don't get like a dump. I think of it as like a big old thick manual, like a big dictionary. Boom, here it is. No, it's not like that. You get what you need at the moment. You get what you can handle, what you can interpret, what you can integrate.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those integrations take months, years, information that you're given. So it's always good to maybe have a recording or take notes or something where you can refer back to your Akashic record session. If you have it with me or anyone else, or any session like this, I would say I would have it recorded so you can refer back to it, because a lot of these things don't happen in our timeliness, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. Yeah. Yeah. So an Akashic record session with me is, I like to ask the person, what do you want to create or support in your life? And that goes the same thing for if it's an Akashic record session using crystals. And I wait for the response, however it's given, email, verbal, messenger, however, communication in a host of ways. And so taking their own words, I take those words into their Akashic records. And it's very powerful. It's not me guessing. It's, I ask them straight out, what do you want to create or support or create? And then further, it's, if they don't know how to say it, I'm just like, then tell me the story. Just describe something, like there's something there. The Akashic records float off spoken word or written word. So it really does add some flavor to it. So just like, well, then describe the best you can. If you don't know how to ask the question, then describe it. Describe a story. Tell me a story, and we'll go there. So I go into the Akashic records and get the information how I receive it, which is I can hear things, see things. So clairaudient, clairvoyant, claircognizant. I mean, it just comes in many ways: thoughts, words, colors, numbers, little clips. And it's always different for each person I'm reading for. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's always magnificent. It's beautiful every time. And the way I think of that is, every time that I open an Akashic record, that's adding more light to the crystalline grid. And so it's just like, it's just beautiful. That's all I can say. Each and every time has been beautiful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, for the viewers, I actually had a session with Leigh Ann of the Akashic Records, and I'm somebody who's had a lot of challenges, especially health and relationship challenges in my life. And I've done everything that I possibly can to sort of kind of balance out the ups and downs and have a more, not an easier life, but a life that's more predictable and more balanced. So I've done all kinds of things to do with diet. And I even did a month-long affirmation program, cutting my ties with anything nefarious in the seen and unseen worlds. I've done an alien implant removal process with a psychic surgeon that removed some etheric implants that were holding me back. And I've just done everything, possible to have a more balanced life. And still, it seemed the shit kept hitting the fan. So I went to Leigh Ann for the Akashic Records reading, because I thought I must be missing something. Do I have a spirit attachment that's causing me grief? Do I have ancestral trauma holding me back? Do I have I don't know anything? And I didn't know. Like, I felt like I was okay, but I didn't know. So Leigh Ann went into the Akashic Records for me. It was a beautiful session. It's a very gentle and very loving environment. It's a very lovely treatment modality, if you can call it that. And she found that everything was clean. I had done everything I needed to do to be where I am right now. And it gave me such a terrific peace of mind that I didn't have to worry about that anymore. And instead I could just tackle life as the ups and downs came to me, and it put me in a much better position to have confidence in myself. And then the other thing too is I get all kinds of people who contact me and try to tell me there's something wrong with me and they have the solution, and if I pay them, they'll fix it. Well, I can't possibly be tricked by any of these people because I know that my records are clean. And it doesn't mean that I'm a perfect person. You know, I still make mistakes. I still have, you know, karma, but all that heavy stuff that I worked so hard to clear, it paid off, and that I was now clear. And it made such a difference. So I not only have that peace of mind, but also I can't be tricked by other people. And unfortunately, oh my goodness, there are so many charlatans out there who want to trick you and just take your money. And so that was another thing of benefit that came from it. And then we both have in common the crystal kingdom. And I use crystals in my orgone generators. And by the way, that's Leigh Ann's pendant is one of my creations. And thank you for showing that. So orgone generators, they are crystals that are under permanent pressure. They become piezoelectric, and at that point they're drawing energy from the etheric reality and bringing it into the three-dimensional. And so but Leigh Ann does something very unique with the crystals. I'm going to stop talking about it and let you describe it. She does these amazing grids, and she does custom grids for people. And so, Leigh Ann, do you want to talk about the Crystal Kingdom and the grids that you do, and anything else you want to talk about?
Sure, I will. I absolutely will. That's fun. That's fun and work for me both. As a Capricorn, we find a way to make fun work as well. So let me finish up with the Akashic records, since I do Akashic records and crystal grids. I'll kind of talk about both at the same time.
Sure.
So I like creating crystal grids, and so I thought, all right, I'll offer a service to create crystal grids for people for whatever they want to support or create in their life. And then I thought, why not take the guesswork out of that and just go into the Akashic records? And I mean, that's just even better. Don't even guess, just go in there and get the really good information and incorporate that in a crystal grid. And it is magnificent. I'm blown away each time. I mean, again, it's like, I know that just sounds crazy for me to keep saying that, but it's just, each grid is different for each person. The pattern, the color of it, which stones, in which position, but it's just so cool. It's really just because it gets to add a little to my knowledge base, somewhat, but otherwise it's in their Akashic records, and it's for them for a very specific purpose. But it's really cool to see how the crystals connect in an energy pattern, but also to each other and to what the person wants to create or support in their life. It's really just, it's awesome. It is. And so that's why I do crystal grids with the Akashic records, because it just do it. Trust me, do it. I could do an okay job, but I think you might want your Akashic records to help. And then just in general about me doing crystal grids, how I started with that was, I mean, I don't even know, just putting crystals together. I don't even know how. I think I would say I'm God taught. I don't know how. I don't know. I always wanted to know how. I couldn't find much information on it, but I did start looking and reading books, you know, internet, just not much. I mean, there's a little bit out there, and but nothing on how to do a grid. And I was looking for a very concrete way to do it, because I have a scientific mind that's my background. So where's the rule book? Where is it? What are the steps? And it's not there. And that was bothersome to me. I'm like, no, just no. But you do have to feel into it. That is when you give up, surrender to it, That's the easiest way to do it. You feel into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's what you need, if nothing more, for that moment. And I find now with a lot of crystal grids that I create, when I go back and look at pictures of them, they don't feel the same. They had a moment, they had a time. Like, they're still pretty, they're beautiful to look at, but no, the feeling there, the energy, to me, there, it's not all of it's there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know why? Oh, I know why. Yeah. Because like when a grid is set up, you're the last piece of the grid. And so it's yeah, so it's kind of like that. Yeah, I guess my connection of that has moved on. So it feels different when I go back and look at it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, they're just so beautiful. They
Mm-hmm.
are so pretty. But it was just interesting how I don't know how I started, but it was buying a couple of little crystals and a little bit of this, and then just how do I make these go together and trying to figure that out. Numerology, just, looking at crystals and, crystal books and anything I could get my hands on. And it just like bits and pieces. And then I finally thought, I can't believe it. I've become one of those people. He's just
Yeah.
like thrown the books away. And here I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I would say that's about partially true. But again, you use your discernment. You pick what books, what authors that you resonate with, just as if you were picking someone you're wanting an Akashic record reading from, or a dentist or a doctor, perhaps. That's how I would pick anything. Like, how does that feel to me? And then go, go along with it. And if it doesn't feel good, then don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
change a little bit here and there. But that's how it is. And it's funny for me to look back on that now, because that would be like not how I would do anything. No, I need a structured course on how to do it and when to
Mm-hmm.
do it. And yeah, no, throw that all out the window.
So you operate probably very much on an intuitive level where you just know, and then you do it and it serves a purpose, and then you don't have to keep it forever and ever because it's done its job. So I'm wondering, I suspect that crystals exist also in other dimensional realities. So what we're seeing, like you take a piece of quartz, and what we're seeing in the three-dimensional is only a tiny portion of what that, and I'm not even going to call it an object because there's an intelligence. Like, for instance, crystals grow, they change in shape, they self-clarify, they're piezoelectric, and where do they grow from? Where do they get their stuff? They're drawing it from 0 point. They're drawing it. So I think that they also exist. And I bet you probably we might have to wait till we die to see it. But I bet you crystals are very much a part of the next dimensional reality that we go into. So what are your thoughts around that, Leigh Ann?
Oh, absolutely that. I was going to say crystals are here and there. They exist in multiple dimensions, and this is the part of them that this is how they represent themselves to us here in
Yes.
the form that we see them. But yes, most of themselves, just like us, exist beyond this density.
Yeah. Oh,
And
I totally
yeah,
agree.
yeah. And that was actually something that I had received in a channeled message, is that crystals are here and there. And then I read it in a book and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I just channeled this like yesterday, like what? And it was just really cool to read it, that to hear someone else like say the same thing. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
mean to, I'm not trying to brag. And I said it first, like, no, she did. It's published. That's just wow.
Well, I
And
didn't
then I
know
read it.
that you also believe that, and I believe that, and I think there are
Yeah.
universal truths that just transcend logic
Yeah.
and structure. And
Yeah.
I myself very much like structure. Other people thrive in chaos. I like a bit of structure.
Yeah.
Really
Me
helps
too.
me a lot. But and the other thing too is there's no real explanation on why people are so drawn to specific crystals. I'm particularly drawn towards things in the in the quartz family, which includes a lot, a lot of different, what we consider different crystals.
Oh, yes.
But I just find that vibration really very, very powerful. Whenever I don't feel well, I have my favorite. It's not an expensive shard, but it's a fairly big piece, and I just sleep with it and take it with me, and it really helps. I've heard, I don't know if it's verifiable or not, but I've heard that when you hold a piece of quartz in your hand, your etheric energy, some call it your aura. I mean, the Heart Math Institute calls it a toroidal or a torus field, that it actually amplifies it by at least 10%. So when we're not feeling well, it really makes sense to bring that part of our power or our energy, to help us. Because I also believe that when we heal on one of the higher dimensional realities, it funnels down to us. Whereas if we just do healing here, it doesn't funnel up. It's the other way around. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Leigh Ann?
Well, I think of it as a two-way, but yes, absolutely. I would say it would funnel, it flows. I absolutely believe that. Since everything, well, you want to talk about timelessness, time and timelessness, everything happens now. So past, present, future is all here now. Play here in the now. Don't venture out into the future. Here is where you create. Here's where you manifest. So stay here and play. It's all here anyway. So wherever you heal, you're healing here. You apply it where you can and where you need to. So I think it's a two-way. I think it's a multi-dimensional street. It goes everywhere, everywhere, all the time.
And all at once.
And all at once. And I think you draw upon it. Like when you put your focus on it, it's like a ping, ding, ding, ding. Hey, and come over here. I need you over here. And so it's just like you put your focus on it, and then you call it to you. Your frequency. Yeah, you match the frequency, the resonance. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think we all have our own unique resonant frequency? And that's our sort of identifying character through possibly different lives even? Or what's your take on that?
Okay, I was actually thinking of it simply, at least simply, if you think of having a biofeedback machine where each little cell has its own vibration. And so if it's out of vibration, they know that you need some balance in that area of your body, and so on and so on. So I'm thinking, yeah, absolutely. Then if each one of our cells has a frequency, a vibration, then, and I think they do, and it's known. I mean, yeah, it is known. And so then if expanding that thought out into every part of us, yes, I think that we do have a certain resonance frequency. It's like our signature. Maybe you could call that our soul, because I mean, isn't that what energy, everything is energy. So that is kind of identifying what you are. Be a certain resonance pattern or frequency, vibration, because you match okay, let me hold on. The different dimensions are just frequencies. So it is vibration and frequency. Okay, yeah.
Another thing that I believe, it doesn't make it necessarily universally true or anything, but you know how we go through the different stages. We're very, I believe, very heavily programmed from the womb to the tomb in this three-dimensional reality. And we're taught, that when you're a child, you act and you be a certain way, and then you give all that up and you become, a young woman or a young man, and then you give all that up and then you become an adult, and then you're supposed to, when you get to a certain age, you're supposed to give all that up and act like an old person. But I actually think that we need to carry all of that at once. So when I'm at my best, when I am my child self, when I am my maiden self, when I am my mother self, when I am my crone self. I'm borrowing terms really from, I guess, pagan belief system, but at the same time, I don't know if they have an alternative for men. They should have an alternative to the child, the maiden, the mother, and the crone. There's actually even more divisions. But anyway, long story short, what I'm saying is when I'm all of those things at once, so I don't deny my child self or my inner child, I can still be the mother, I can still be the maiden, all the things that go with all the different stages. If I'm sort of balancing all of those at once, I feel like I'm at my power. And I just wondered if you have any thoughts about that.
I have never thought about those 4 stages together. I mean, I'm trying to
it's like what you were saying about how time is all concurrent.
sure.
It's sort of like that, but it also for me is how I act and how I think and how I handle things. And and I look around me, to be honest with you, I see a lot of people my age and older, and they're in real rough shape, and they're conforming to a specific code. Like they dress the same, they all have the same kind of haircuts, they all go do the same things. I don't fit into that at all. And I'm wondering what happened to their child self? What happened, to their maiden self? And so anyway, I don't know, maybe I'm off topic, but I just thought I'd throw that in there with the concurrence of time.
Well, I think the programming basically shuts that off, where oh gosh, I don't even know how to say how restrictive that is. Like you just have, there's no connection, nothing there. So yeah, no, I see it. I see examples of it, and it's just like, oh, but I guess this is how I live, and I've never really thought of it this way.
Yeah.
Of I find ways to have fun and joy just because I don't know how else to be. That's how I've always been. So it's, whatever that is, coloring, drawing, being outside, taking a walk, whatever it is, playing with crystals. But see, that's work too, but not work in the sense of, bad, but it's fun too. That's fun, but it's also a hobby, and it's personal. And then it's a beautiful resource to share. It's very nice, but I don't know. I think I'm not even answering that question, circling it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I did not mean to put you on the spot. You don't have
well,
to come up with anything. It doesn't matter.
Well, no, it's like I don't want to not try to answer the question, and I don't feel put on the spot. I'm just saying, wow, that is a very interesting question to think about. And I do think that is the way I live, but I'd never put
You never put it in that kind of category. Yeah.
Exactly, because I mean, like, for example, here it is. This would be the way maybe I can share. I look at myself, or like, for example, I'm 50. I'm 50 years old. I don't feel like I'm 50 years old. I don't know what 50 is supposed to feel like, but I don't feel like I'm 50. And so I'm trying to find new things to put into my wardrobe. And I'm having this question of, okay, but what am I supposed to wear? And then I've scolded myself for, no one's going to tell me what I'm going to wear. I'll wear whatever I want. But in searching for it, I cannot find, nothing looks fresh. It looks like stuff like from 20 years ago. But I'm finding when I ask other female friends, they're having the exact same experience anyway. So point is, I'm like, okay, I don't feel like I'm 50, but what am I supposed to wear? I don't want to look like I'm 20. And then it's I feel like I'm living, I have to remind myself I'm 50 and I'm married. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm 50. I mean, it's just like this, like I feel younger, and I don't know that I even feel like I'm married, and I don't feel that, I don't mean that in a bad way, just I'm very free. I'm just very free in it, and it's nice, and I enjoy my time. No matter, yeah. And I'm just like, how old do I think I am? Like, what? I don't know. So it's like, I think I am kind of all over the place, that it's a very free flowing,
Timeless. You're timeless.
kind of, yeah. But I've always had fun of crayons and markers and coloring books and drawing.
Oh, I do. I do that too. I get in trouble from parents sometimes, though, because they're trying to raise their children to be, orderly. And I like to do things like if I'm in Walmart, I'll go to the bouncy balls section. I'll start bouncing balls just because I love the sound and the feel. It's
Yep.
just, I love that experience. And the other kids, their moms are saying, no, you can't go bounce balls. And I look at them and I just say, don't worry, I'm just testing them to make sure they work. And another thing I like to do is if you go, I don't go out to shopping malls much anymore, but if I go to a shopping mall, they always have these shiny floors. And I love to twirl and on the shiny floors. And I know it's inappropriate and I don't care. I really like it. It makes me really happy and I'm not hurting anyone. I make sure I'm not gonna bang into anybody. But it just seems that people are so constrained. And it's kind of, the word that comes up for me is constipation, even though I'm not talking about the digestive system. And so afraid to be outside of the box. And I think they need crazy old ladies like me just to give other people permission to loosen up a bit, because it's kind of, I don't know. It's almost like, especially, I'm not going to talk about it on account of YouTube, but the last 3 years, what we all been through, right?
Yeah.
I think it's shut a lot of people down.
Yeah.
The
Right. I was gonna say just
spontaneity.
in general. Yeah, just in general, I think it's how it's designed to be, and I'll just say it that way. That's be the good little person and go on about your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
think small, live small. Don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
watch TV and whatever.
I'm a very I spend a lot of time by myself. Well, I have 2 cats now and they're my furry babies and I love them dearly, but I don't go out into mainstream society that much anymore for various reasons that are beyond the scope of this podcast. But I love when I do go out, I always talk to strangers. I love it. Those little 2-second those little 2-second encounters are so meaningful to me, and they're very spontaneous. And the other people, especially older people, love it when you talk to them. But I've lived in other cities, like in Victoria, BC, and if you talk to strangers, they're offended. Like, who do you think you are talking to me? I just like, it was really difficult for me. Now I live in Red Deer, Alberta, and maybe it's also the advantage of being a little bit older, that people are, they don't mind if you tell them how beautiful their baby is. Or I like to also make little kids that are in the shopping cart, make them laugh, so I'll do funny wink faces and things and make them laugh. I don't care. I like it. And again, that's getting back to me being a child, that my child self and my young woman self and my mother's self. And now I'm old and I actually really like being older. And although the self-care component is super important as we age, it's kind of like undoing, at least for me, undoing rather toxic practices that were considered very normal and very healthful in the past, which just don't work for me. So I'm finding self-care really, really important. So again, the crystals are so important. I think having access, if we can't do it ourselves, then to go through someone like Leigh Ann to get our bearings. And I think that self-care is so, so important. I don't know. How do you feel about self-care, Leigh Ann?
Oh yeah, it's always been important. And I have a long story about that. I've done that for years and didn't realize that's what I was doing, was basically what I was going to say. But let me go back to what you were saying about the last example, being out in public and babies and talking to people. Absolutely, I do the same thing. And it's just, if nothing more, I want to be respectful to people and I want to acknowledge them as, like usually it's when I'm in a grocery store, but it's like, I remember when I worked in a grocery store, when most people didn't want to say hello to you, so it's like, I kind of remember. And so I just think a quick hello, hello. And then after you're done, you bag the groceries. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for
And
coming into work today. Sometimes I want to say thank you for showing up to such a shitty job, but I don't want to insult them and I don't want to rub in the fact that they have to do this shitty job. So exactly. I always thank them and find something to compliment them. Thank you I love the way you put my groceries in the box. Anything,
Yeah.
And it seems to make a difference. And it really, weirdly, it feeds my soul.
Oh, I don't think it's weirdly, but it does feed your soul. It feeds mine too. I love it. And I know, I know it could just be very, very easily overlooked. And that's what offends me, when other people don't even think to say, oh, hi. Yeah, even if they didn't even think to say it to you first, they don't even return it. I'm like, oh, come on. I'm not looking for a full-on conversation. But see, that's what I think it is sometimes. I think people think, no, 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 no. I don't want to have a conversation. And I don't, I don't want to have to stand there and be uncomfortable or whatever, however that exchange goes. So I think people just like, yeah, okay, no, keep my eyes down. I'm not going to say anything. And they keep on going.
Well, people that I meet like that, which are fairly rare, but still at times, I just respect the fact that maybe they're having a really shit time right now. Pardon my language, but maybe they're just having a real shit time right now. And that's okay. I still feel like I at least held my hand out, not literally, but and let them know that I see them. People think that the opposite to love is hate, and I disagree. I think the opposite to love is apathy, where people just don't care about things, people, places, and things. And so to see someone and just have I don't know, even if you're just comparing the apples in the supermarket or whatever, those little brief encounters, it says more than just what I'm saying. It's an energy transfer. It's I see you. It's you're important enough to me for me to make eye contact and say something to you. Check out my website and find many valuable resources. There's the 9 Steps to Quantum Health Transformation. This is a free, comprehensive online course. Learn about detoxification and nutrition, grounding and spiritual practices, and an advanced version of the law of attraction, giving you more of what you really want out of life. I also have my Zendomes Orgonite, which is my unique brand of orgone generators. They're ethically sourced and handmade by a friend of mine, and they're double charged for maximum effect. I also carry Comfort Crystals, which is a limited collection of energetically infused semi-precious stones. I have an array of vital services, so you can get the one-on-one support that you've been looking for. Also coaching, guidance, and I do assessments and also workshops. And then again, there are the many free resources available on my website. Wisdom to assist with energetic ascension into physical, mental, and spiritual paradise. Let us share our quantum work with you. It's your turn to heal, evolve, and thrive. Believe in your ability to succeed. Now, let's get back to the show. So, have you, in the last 3 years, have you switched over to doing anything different than you were doing before as far as self-care goes, or just it doesn't even have to be self-care, it can be just to enhance your resilience, because that's really what it's about. It's about being able to go with the flow and still remain intact.
Yeah. Okay, so I've always loved bubble baths, but now I make sure they are Epsom salt bubble baths.
Yeah.
And there's many brands out there, so I would say go with what you can find. If you want to shout out, I'm going to say, go with whatever price point you can afford, but Epsom salts is the way to go. It's magnesium chips. It's not really salt. Well, actually, the term salt can be made from many different minerals, but anyway, it's magnesium. And it is so good for relaxation, detoxing, and it's just so nice. And if you can get one that maybe has eucalyptus, peppermint, lavender, any of those, all of those, whatever. Oh, it's so nice. I love the lavender. That's my favorite. It's been my favorite for 15, 20 years. Love it. And in my past, I would take a bubble bath one time a week. every week. I would have every 7 days there was a bath.
Mhm.
And I just loved it. And I'm so glad I did that. I didn't even know what I was doing then, but yeah, that was my self-care. And so that continues, but sometimes I don't do it every week. Sometimes it's once a month,
Can
but
I, can I interject? Because I do something very similar to that. So I know it's like people just have a quick shower and then they're on the go all the time. And I started doing, just intuitively, I started doing also the salty baths. And so I gotta say, Costco, you can get a great big jug of Epsom salts, for $10.
ooh,
It's really cheap. And then I add my own essential oil. So it's basically the same thing you're talking about.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
also will buy, that pink rock salt. I'll throw some of that in the tub. And then I alternate between an acid bath or an alkaline. So if I want an alkaline bath, I'll use some baking soda. And if I want an acidic bath, I'll put in about a cup of apple cider vinegar. Now, the apple cider vinegar doesn't smell that great,
Yeah, yeah.
but either one actually turns us into a living battery. And so what happens is it really enhances our auric. It not only does it detox and pull stuff up, but it also enhances our auric signature, our energetic self. And the other thing about the tub is when you make a salty bath like the magnesium and you get in there, you're grounded because the plumbing from the tub is grounded to the earth. That's what all your electrical systems in your house is connected to the plumbing because it's grounded. That's what forms the ground. So it really connects you with the earth, and it makes us energetically amazing. And I actually have one of those baths twice a week because I find that I really need to get into that deep sense of deep relaxation that allows me to also go into a meditative state. So I also put on, some 432 hertz music, and I have one of those globe lights that changes color. And I turn off the big light. I get in there, and I think I'm in there for like 15 minutes, and I get out, and I've been in there for over an hour. I just lose all sense of time. So I didn't want to take away from what you were saying. I just wanted to say I agree. I think it's so amazing to do that, and also makes connection to my higher self much easier, and that heart brain coherence, so much easier. And then of course the amazing benefits of magnesium. For those who don't know, do Google it, or whatever search engine we're using these days, and find out about how important absolutely every single biological function in the body requires a certain amount of magnesium, and it's something that's really missing from what we're eating. So I think it's really good that way. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all, not at all. I agree with everything you said, and you use your own discernment. I mean, like I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. Of okay, once a week, and that this is my time.
Yeah.
Lights are out, candles are lit, bubble bath. It's hot, and I'm not taking any phone calls.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like yeah. And then it got where half the day I would be like, nope, about 5 p.m. Nope, I'm not available. Nope. And just had this ritual, if you will, and it was just a wonderful bubble bath and just self-care, and just loved it. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just what I needed. And I've gone a little further apart in bubble baths now, but I still do them and I love them. But the only thing I'll say is to anything that I recommend, this would be my disclaimer: buy the best product you possibly can. You can buy organic, natural,
Mm-hmm.
but start with what you have, what you can afford, and it
Mm-hmm.
still has its benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And so to Epsom salt baths, bubble baths. The other thing, if you shower, in your shower with cool water, especially if you have aches and pains, it really helps with circulation. I have found that out. I've seen this recommendation a few times, kind of like what's his name, Wim Hof.
Wim Hof, yeah.
Yeah,
The
and
ice bath, I'm not brave enough for
right,
an ice
yeah.
bath, but yeah, cool
Oh,
shower.
right. But then it was like, well, okay, maybe I should try that. But I think it is a really good thing for anyone to try. And you just start with what you can handle, and then you work up to 5 minutes of a cold bath or shower, of a cold shower. And that's nice if you can handle it. If you can't, I know
Mhm.
some people can't handle, cold sensations. So, okay. But again, you know yourself if that's what you can't handle. Vitamins and minerals. I think vitamins and minerals, good supplementation. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, not just vitamins and minerals, but other supplements, other herbs, other whatever.
Yeah,
Plant medicine. Yeah,
like maybe fish oils or
right. Fish
yeah.
oils or glutathione or certain, I mean, magnesium alone, the different formulations of magnesium, if you just do a search on that,
Mhm.
is mind blowing on what the different things that they do for your body. And so just take it.
And your mind, I did
Yeah.
I don't know where I saw the study, but this is a long time ago, like probably 30 years ago. I came across, used to be able to get stuff on the internet that you can't find anymore. I don't know why, but it was different experiments that were done where they gave children in school magnesium supplementation. And so what they did was they actually took a group of what they called underachievers, children that just were not doing well at all in school. And they put them on a magnesium. That was the only change. And within, I think, a 6-month period, their test scores had raised by 78%. So they had moved from the bottom to the top just from magnesium. And by the way, this is not a medical show. We're not making medical recommendations here. We're just talking about what we've discovered and what works for us. And if it works for you, great. But please don't take it as medical advice. I think I needed to say that. Just on account of YouTube is getting, well, we won't talk about that, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard about that. So it really helps with being able to think as well.
I knew that there was sorry, that's my dog.
It's
I
okay.
knew that there was a change, but I'm not aware of the specific changes. So I imagine that I know they're more rigid there. Yeah. Um, let's see what else about self-care. And again, I think it kind of ebb and flows. Like I personally, I got into vitamins and supplements, and then it was minerals. I just needed minerals, and
Yeah.
that's where I stayed for quite a while. But I feel so much better. Oh, I feel so good in my body. I really do. I'm amazed
Mm-hmm.
compared to what I felt like in my early 30s. No joke. No
Mm-hmm.
joke. Yeah. And I weigh a little more now than I did then, by the way. So it's not that I've lost weight. So it's not that. But and now it's just ah, sorry, my dogs are about to
No, it's
bark. I can
okay.
hear.
Don't worry about it. I'll probably have a cat jump up on my computer any minute now. So please
But
it's all good.
what was I saying? Yeah, so it just kind of it kind of goes in a cycle, and sometimes it's just something you maybe hear if you're looking on something on YouTube, just like anything, you're searching for something, something else pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And if it comes up a couple different times, it's like, follow that. Where does that lead
Yes.
you? And it's the same thing with like supplements. Like, have you ever thought about what's whatever bromium? What's bromium do for us? Okay, we'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
Or go look up magnesium or something. And then you just see like, oh, I might want to try that. Sure, why not try it for a
Mm-hmm.
couple of 2 or 3 weeks? You need to do it for more than 3 or 4 days, but try it for 2 or 3 weeks and see if that's something that you find beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah,
So it's a lot of experimenting, and also it
it
changes
is.
over time. So what you need now, you may not need later on.
Oh, well, that's
Um,
true. And
yeah,
also, I should
so
say this, yes, we're not a medical show. And as for dosage, I would say do your research, look online of
mhm.
what is recommended dosage. And there's lots of websites that give you the medical allowances, your daily allowances by your country or region, wherever that is
Mhm.
you live. Yeah, you'll find some guidelines there. And of course, you've got your more natural doctors on YouTube that you can also find these topics on. So there's
Mhm.
lots of places that you can find more info, not just me blabbing on and giving you a few things to think about. So But there's lots of resources out there, and if you feel so inclined to research them, you can really find some interesting stuff to think about.
Mhm.
And then one thing leads to another, to another, to another.
So true, so true.
Yeah. And then you tumble down the rabbit hole.
I started in the last well, more than 6 months, probably 9 months, trying to get more exercise. And I think as we age, that becomes even more important. It's harder to get back what you've lost. And we have really cold winters here, so it's difficult to get out. But my daughter bought me a pair of mucklucks, real Aboriginal mucklucks, which are exactly what you need for this kind of weather. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't believe how nice and comfortable and warm my feet are. I don't even have to wear socks in them. And I could go out where, as long as it's comfortable to breathe, like if it's colder than, say, 20 below zero, I can't breathe in that. That's too cold. But if it's 10 below, I could still go out. And I'm talking Celsius here, just so I don't shock too many people that are on Fahrenheit. I'm not sure what the conversion would be. But so I started whenever it was nice out and sunny. That's one of the beautiful things about where I am, is not only is it sunny, but the sun reflects off the snow. So it's very beautiful. It's kind of like being surrounded by crystals, really.
Yeah.
And going for a little walk not every day, but as much as I can. And then when the snow melted and stuff, I started going out for walks. And then now it's hot, so I go out really early. And I'm an early riser, so I'm awake at 4 o'clock every morning. And so by 6 o'clock, I can go out for a walk. And it's funny, you meet a whole different kind of people that are out that time in the morning. Get newspaper delivery people, and you get people out walking their dogs before they go to work and all of that. Anyway, I've just been feeling so much better. I can't believe the difference. And I'm just talking about a walk. I'm not talking about going to the gym or jogging or, doing Pilates or none of that. Oh, maybe I've got the wrong. Is that Pilates? Is that a star system, or is that an exercise?
Pilates.
Okay. I got it. It's a bit screwed up there.
Okay.
It happens. Anyway, so I found that that's super helping a lot. And then, I haven't been able to do a lot of physical work for a while. And this year I'm out cutting the grass. So I'm doing it twice a week, keep the dandelions down, but I'm really getting a kick out of it. When I'm done, the lawn looks so beautiful. I'm so proud of myself. It's not even really a big deal. It's just another way of getting, just using my body more, because I can get really stuck in my head. And then being a YouTuber, you can spend a lot of time doing research, which is screen time, on the phone, which is screen time. That's the other thing I've done, is I've really cut down on my screen time on my phone. It was terrible. It's like I couldn't leave it alone. It's so addictive. Even when I go in to check the weather, the next thing I know, I'm in Facebook going down all these rabbit holes. So I make it a rule that I spend most of the day with my phone, where I can't even hear a ping, because I'm not going to do that anymore. It's almost like, I don't know if you have this experience, Leigh Ann, but when I get engrossed in my phone, it's like my consciousness is sucked out of my body and someplace else. And after a while, I've lost a half an hour, I've lost an hour, I could lose an hour and a half. And it's like I have to yank my etheric self out of my phone and put it down. And it's kind of like, what is going on with this technology? Now, I don't know if it's my imagination or if it's a real thing. I don't know. But I know I've really limited that for screen time, and that's helped a lot too. Plus, I don't like being addicted to I don't like that little square or oblong object is demanding my attention constantly. And I know that there's, I don't know, algorithms or something in there that makes us want to attach to it. And I'm not going to give into that. So that was another really big change for me, and just really limiting how much time. I mean, if I hear it ring, I'll check. And if it's my daughter or something, I'll answer it. But otherwise, they can leave me a message. And if it's important, I'll get back to them when on my own time. I don't know. Maybe you don't have that problem with your phone, but I just.
No, I've already been through that.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I do. And I think I went through it in 2000. 18 or 19, but it was before COVID and the era of COVID, and I thought, oh gosh, I can't. It's just ping, ping, ding,
Oh,
ba-ding, ba-doop, doop. And it was just like, I feel like Pavlov's dog, and I know what each one of those little beeps and dings mean. And then I thought, okay, I can't stand this. And so I had to find a way to turn some of them off. And then it got where the phone I had, I couldn't turn some of them off. I couldn't figure out how to do it. And I said, all right, that's it. They're all done. I'm turning them all off. I
mhm.
turned them all off, and it's been very peaceful. Because I mean, several times a day, I do look on my status bar. Okay, no, okay, it looks fine. And like you said, missed call, who is that? Okay, I'll call them later. I'm just, and I actually learned that from a friend years ago when she just said, look, she said, I don't live by my phone. I'm not sitting here with my phone all the time. And so now I thought, you know what? Those are words to live by. Yes, this phone makes it convenient that you can call, text, message, email, all of that in an instant, but it also gives you that illusion of everybody should answer you immediately. And
Mm-mm.
that's where the answer is no, no, no. And
You
and,
know,
and it, yeah,
I'm really
go
glad
ahead.
you said
Yeah,
that, because that's another thing that I've started
yeah,
doing, saying no, even if I don't have to say no, just practicing. Because I always, used to think, oh, people really want your help, or they want this, they want that. There's so many people. It's like a revolving door. You help one
yeah,
person, another person's waiting, and it
yeah.
never seems to end. And so I've started
Boundary.
practicing saying no. And I don't mean to be cruel or anything. It's just that I need a certain amount of my time to take care of me, to deal with my own issues, to plan my own life. And what's come out of it is I actually engineer my own life. Like, for instance, rather than me go for
Yeah.
2 weeks in Hawaii, I engineer a little bit of holiday time every day. So every day I spend some time, well, weather permitting, out on one of those nice, not a reclining, I forget what they're called. They're like a reclining lounge chair outside, but it just feels like you're floating in it. It's really nice.
Hammock, a hammock.
Kind of like that. And I
Okay,
spend some time in the sun every day, just communing with nature. I know all the birds in the
absolutely.
yard. I
Yeah,
watch them. It's hilarious. They fight. I've got one of my cats goes outside, and she's eyeing this big fat blue jay that him and his partner got a nest in the tree in the backyard. And she's eyeing him. I says, please don't eat him. He's our friend. We're sharing the yard with him. And then a couple of days later, there's this huge butterfly, biggest butterfly I ever saw in the backyard. And I went, oh my God, a beautiful butterfly. And then that
that was
same
me.
blue jay swooped down and swallowed that big butterfly. And I went, oh my goodness, I can't win. I'm going to stop refereeing in the backyard and let nature take its course. But the point is, it brings me so much joy to see the little drama and the little pageant that's going on just in my yard. It's actually amazing. And then of course I grow a few things, and I don't know, I just love it. And there's a peace that I've found from doing that. So
Mhm,
I build a little bit of a holiday every day into my life. I make sure the foods I eat are really good quality foods that are
mhm.
delicious to me, that are, especially in the barbecue season, easy to
Yeah,
prepare.
you
And
want it, yeah.
and so I'm engineering my own life, and I limit my contact with certain people. And there are certain people that I
Boundaries,
actually don't have any
boundaries.
contact with anymore. And I don't feel bad about it, because I mean, if I don't have my own back, Leigh Ann, who is
Well,
going to have my back?
there's no need to feel guilty. There's no reason to feel guilty. I kind of like this. This, my friends know I tell this story all the time. If I feel like I don't understand, like, is this person mistreating me? Like, is this relationship abused? Is there something here that's not a good balance, a good thing for both
Mm-hmm.
of us? Okay. And so I think, okay, I'm going to have to start. I have a rule called tit for tat. And so I'm thinking, I'll do just as much as you'll do. I'll meet you where you are, and I'll give you nothing more. And that's until I can figure out what you're doing. And
Yes.
then so that way it's like, you can't accuse me of not communicating with you or not calling you or not texting you. Because if you're not doing it, well, then I'm not doing it. I mean,
Mhm.
like, you can't. So then it's like, it just helps me like delineate, no, this person's not. They're never the one reaching out. I'm always the one reaching out.
Yes, I think
Or,
that's so
yeah.
important, especially because like when I was growing up, I didn't have a word for it, and I actually only discovered it about in the last 5 years. And this is that whole dynamic around people who are empathy deficient. That's what they're calling it. You could also call it narcissism. You could call it,
Oh,
and they will just
okay.
use you and use you and use you and throw you away. And so the
Yeah.
only way you can tell really is to give it a little bit of time. And
Yes. Yes.
but more and more my gut just tells me certain people, it's like I
Yeah.
feel like I'm being kicked in the gut, and
Yeah.
I go,
Yeah.
no contact. I don't care
And that's
what
it.
they say, I'm not
Yeah.
having contact. Because if my gut is giving me that strong a reaction,
Oh,
the
yeah.
problem of the past was me overriding it, going, oh, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and how do that it's not good, and maybe all of this. I'm not doing that anymore. I just my gut is, I won't go against my gut anymore. And the only time I do go against my gut is when I'm not having enough peaceful time to be in touch with my gut. Do you know what I mean? So it
Oh,
kind
I
of
always say
all goes together for self-care, all these things.
it does. It
Yeah.
does. It's boundaries, taking time for yourself. No one else will. Take time for yourself. So
Yeah.
whatever that is, if you want to go golfing or, hiking, bike riding, or a bath,
Oh
a
yeah.
bubble bath. Yeah. So, but some of that, yeah, whatever that is for you, there's no need for me to try to tell you what it is. But a little bit of time and experimentation, you can figure some of that out if you don't already know, which I think a lot of you do have some idea of what you really like to do and what is very good for you.
Mhm.
Your happy place, so to speak. And I do think a lot of people, like you said, if you have that gut feeling, oh, wait, no, then that's, yeah, that quick, that's it. That's it. Don't question it.
Mhm.
And I recently had channeled messages, and it was like, I will never doubt myself again. And that's
Mhm.
literally what you're saying. No,
Mhm.
it's like, yep, yeah, just that's it. That's your answer. Doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
That's your intuition.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
and oh my goodness, what a wonderful, wonderful guide for me, but it took me a long time I used to actually have certain negative behaviors to try to mask what my gut was trying to tell me, because I was a part of religion, or I was a part of something else,
Sure, sure,
or in a
sure.
people pleasing situation. And what a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's not pleasant, and it's inexplicable sometimes. Like I could not tell you why I need to stay away from certain people or situations or places, but just the gut is there. And I think it's more tapped into the greater reality than my conscious mind self. You know what I mean? It's much bigger. And then that takes us around again to the Akashic, I think the Akashic records, where all things are known. And how can we know that if we're not tapped in? I don't know. It must come from there or somewhere. It's wonderful.
Well, yeah. If we're all connected to the 0 point field, which then I think to me is kind of that's not exactly, but kind of the way you would explain the Akashic records, in a sense that it's this big cosmic soup where everything is, and it's all connected and just kind of shimmering and moving around, and it's all there for you. It already was, is there, will be there. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think when you do have that nudge, how else where are you drawing that from? Well, it's all connected. So you're drawing it from where it all is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it never ceases to amaze me either. I'll get people that will say to me, like this one woman, she said to me, I hate going to the family dinners. It was her son and his wife and her relatives. She says, I hate it. It makes me so uncomfortable. I feel like there's something wrong with me the whole time I'm there. I feel bad for days afterwards, and I don't know what to do. How can I do this? And I looked at her and I said, just say no. Don't go anymore. If it doesn't make you feel good, don't go. And I saw her 3 months later. She says, oh my God, that was the best advice you could have given me. She says, I just told them all I wouldn't be attending any more family dinners, that it didn't make me feel, good, and I'm just not doing it anymore. And that was that. And she says, my life has completely changed. And I went, oh my gosh. Like, I wasn't actually telling her what to do. I was just, what came up for me is what I shared with her. Right. And it made such a difference, but it never occurred to her that she could say no.
Well, I mean, it is, well, you don't want to, okay, I think there's a part of you don't want, maybe you don't want to hurt other people's feelings, or it feels like you said it's an obligation. You have to, it's expected.
Mm-hmm.
It's family. Not to say you don't love your family, but it's like maybe there's just certain things you don't want to participate anymore or whatever. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really feel that way, but just it is different for different people. But it is there's no one right answer. So I don't know. I don't know that I feel like I could answer that for anyone else. Like, you have to do what feels right for you. If it doesn't make you feel good, I would say try not doing it a few times and see if you feel better when you're not there. And maybe you just don't do it anymore, and then maybe that is the answer for them. And it's, yeah. So
and
I
the
don't
people were afraid of disappointing or anything like that. Well, if they're grown-ups, for goodness sakes, they can self-regulate. They can deal with a little bit of, no, you're not coming to dinner. They can adjust. It's not like they're so fragile that we have to do everything that's expected of us, or the whole world will fall apart. And maybe they'll learn, and maybe they have some lessons that'll come from saying no to them as well. Maybe they will think about maybe how they treated that person, like, I don't know. I just don't think the gut lies, and getting in touch with the gut has been a really important part of my resiliency and my plan for survival.
Oh, I think that is innate. And I think that is something, well, it is clearly something we're not taught, and that a lot of us don't even know exists. And don't know how to talk about it, don't know how to ask about it. Like, you just, there's nothing there to draw a connection to and try to figure it out. And I think a lot of people, you stumble upon it. But yeah, I think your intuition, your discernment, your gut feeling is very, very powerful, and you need that more than you need someone telling you what to do, think, do, go, dress like, and how you feel.
So we have just a couple minutes left, Leigh Ann. I'm wondering, again, I would like to bring people back to the Akashic Records and to the crystal work that you do. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience, especially people who are not real familiar with what accessing the Akashic Records can do for them? But I got to tell you, the help that I received from you in the past is still serving me today very much.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that. Like, that's amazing, and thank you for what you shared off camera too, as well. How to prepare with a session with me. So what you can get from a session. So how I do this is I will ask for some information from you, and I'll say, prepare some questions that you want answers to, we'd like to discuss. And I always say this, and I'm going to say it now because it is true but funny. I just say, the first question cannot be, what is my purpose in life? I said, you kind of have to prime the pump. We need to talk about some other things, and then we kind of get to that question. So I said, it is allowed, but do not start with that question.
And that could change over time too, what our purpose is. Like, my purpose when I was a mother is very different than my purpose as an old woman too, right? So it's kind of a really broad question.
It is. When sometimes the way it's at, I think a lot of the way things come through with me is very esoteric, a very wide view, because I really have a lot of interest in like quantum physics, and I like to read about portals, dimensions, and all this other stuff. And I mean, I find that's kind of how a lot of my Akashic record sessions go, that they're not, unfortunately, I don't go deep into past lives. It's very interesting. I'm like, well, huh. But it doesn't mean I don't draw from them. I do get very specific details, but my experience with how information comes through me versus people that I've had Akashic record readings from is vastly different. That's all I can say. It's vastly different. But there's many questions that can be answered. And I always say you can ask anything you want, anything. It doesn't matter. They all connect. And at the end of the session, it's like it's wrapped up with a little bow. Boom. And there it is. And I said, it's really quite amazing. It all comes together with a theme, with an overall theme that you have of what you need to consider and look at. And like I said, it's always really amazing. It's awesome each and every time. And it's different. It's just different. But
yeah, well, it sure helped me a lot. I think that was a good question I had when we had our session, which was, is there anything holding me back? And because sometimes I think that when my life is more challenging, I think sometimes maybe it's my fault. Maybe I've done something wrong, maybe, and it's helped a lot with my self-acceptance of that I am perfectly okay just the way I am. And no, I don't have to, do any more rituals and whatever, to be free. I am free. And it's just really served me. So I really appreciate you a lot for that. I'm hoping if any of you out there, the listeners or the viewers, if you have a question and you want somebody who's going to help you find some good, useful answers, I really recommend Leigh Ann very much. And I've known you now a couple of years, I guess. We don't see each other every day, but, we message back and forth, and, you've become a good friend to me, and I really appreciate you a lot. So before we close out today, for those that are listening on audio only, can you say where people can find you? And then, of course, all the links will be in the description below. And if you have any, last minute things you want to share with the audience, whatever comes up for you, that's totally okay.
Thank you, Karen. Where people can find me is through Facebook at The Crystal Architect, or you can find me through Instagram at Architect the Crystal. And there are my email, and I think I have my phone contact. And then yeah, you'll find my contact info there. I'll leave it at that, because I'm like, I have it set up the way I want it, but I'm there, and I'll get back to you very quickly. And I look forward to talking to anyone who feels like they want some advice about really anything, or if you're really interested in crystals. A fun topic is always crystals, the many ways that you can incorporate them in your life. And then it's basically, you have your own spa day. You can have your own spa experience with them. You can make them part of your feng shui, your home decor. You don't, if you believe in feng shui, incorporate them in feng shui. If you don't, that's fine too. However,
yeah, they still serve you either way.
Yes, they find a way to serve you. And like you and a crystal, I mean, that's a grid. You and one crystal, that's a grid. So, and I was going to say, like with you talking about your clear crystal quartz, that and any other crystal together, that would be very powerful. It can be clear crystal quartz with any other crystal, and it amplifies the effects and the energies of that crystal, whatever it is. And so think about that as well.
And quartz is also self-cleaning. So I really like that. And then anything you put it near is also energetically cleansed as well. So, you know, I got some jewelry in the past, and I put it, actually, the person that gave it to me, I don't know, I just had some not good feelings about. So I actually packed them in salt overnight and then threw the salt away, removed it from my property, and then put a quartz crystal next to it. And it just totally changed the way I felt about those items.
Yeah.
So, and I guess salt is also a crystal. It's a great purifier as well. So I,
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, that's a great way to deeply and quickly cleanse another crystal or other objects. Here's the only thing I would add to that. Since like over time, salt can be very abrasive, even on a microscopic level of scratching and abrasing a crystal. I would say put a layer of something between your salt and your object.
like a piece of cloth or something.
Glass.
Oh, okay, glass.
I mean,
good to know.
And do organic. So like glass, or because that way it's still coming through. I mean, it is an energetic exchange,
but it's not scratching the surface.
You need the physical, you need that physical barrier so that you're not scratching. But salt is fabulous. It's a very good way to do that, especially if you're a practitioner and you use crystals for a very long time, or a long time on different people. You need to cleanse them like overnight. You could do that in salt. Yeah.
But then it's my understanding you take the salt and you remove it from your home. So either go and put it in your dumpster or your garbage can or something. Don't just keep it, you know, lying around. And I wouldn't add it to my food after doing that either.
You could return it to the earth, you know, and then, that's it. Exactly. You would have to replenish that, your salt. And I'm thinking, I don't know with what consistency you should change it, but yes, absolutely. Should be changed.
Wonderful. So it's been absolutely lovely having you on the show, as always. I hope you'll come back and share more of your wisdom and your light with us. And like I said, everybody, the links will be in the description below this video. And I really encourage you to reach out to Leigh Ann if you have any, I don't know, you want any direction in any direction. And just super, it was a super good experience for me anyway. So
absolutely. And we can always have a little chat. It's not like you have to book with me before I'll ever say a word to you. No, we can have a little chat. We can talk. We can message back and forth.
Nice.
You know, so yeah, no obligation. I'm never going to reach out and ask you to, you have to do this. You must do this. No, I won't contact you first. So, yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. In this day and age, you never know. A lot of charlatans and crazy people, but
there are, I hate to say it, but there are. And so, you know, it's important. That's why I think, shows like this are also important, because it helps people to know, who to trust and, who we've had good experiences with. But anyway, I guess that's it for the show for today. Thank you to all the listeners and the viewers. I appreciate you very much. Please like and share this video with your family and friends, and do leave us a comment. And if you have any questions for Leigh Ann, or you have any questions for me, just put them in the comments, and we'll either do another show or we'll just reach out to you in another way. And thank you everybody for joining us today on the Quantum Guide Show. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us on the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, and Telegram channels. Like this video and share it with your friends. You can also find the Quantum Guide Show and my other podcast called Aliens and Astrology on the Forbidden Knowledge News Network. That's www.forbidden forbiddenknowledge.news. And while you're at it, check out my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com, where you will find some amazing products and services and an abundance of free resources to help you with your journey. All of the links are in the description below. And in the meantime, until we see you next week, keep up the good work.
Splendor and endlessness puts all my inner strife to rest. For time gives birth to hurriedness. It all makes sense, well, more or less. And the sages put me to their test. With heart and soul, I do my best to find the answers to my quest. I wonder and I must confess, I don't know where